everybody. Welcome to Herren Project Live, episode 77. We were just talking about how incredible it is that we have been doing this for over a year and we're on our 77th episode. So it's pretty incredible. The few announcements we have this month, Giving Tuesday is coming up on November 30th. So mark your calendars. That's a really important day for Herren Project as we raise money for our healing packages. They have been an amazing source of healing for so many families and people that have lost a loved one, and for everybody that has received one of our recovery scholarships. So for everybody that has supported that initiative in the past, we really are grateful for your support and look forward to your support this year on November 30th. And then we also released 5 new activities plus a new icebreaker for our Herren Project clubs. So if you're a Herren Project club, we encourage you to check out the digital online kit. And if you're not a Herren Project club, well, then we would encourage you to go to our website, learn more about what Herren Project Clubs is all about, and register to bring one to your school. So tonight we have some really incredible guests where we're going to be talking about the impact that corporations and communities can have for the cause of addiction. So first, I'd like to welcome Lisa Ulbrich to our Herren Project Live. She is the vice president at Commodore Builders, and she is the inaugural corporate partner at Herren Project, which we are just so grateful for, Lisa. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Bonnie. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So before we start, why don't you just share a little bit, if you don't mind? I know you have a pretty incredible story yourself. So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and tell us your story.
Absolutely. So I'm a person in long-term recovery. I just celebrated 2 months ago now, 10 years. Free from.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's been an incredible decade. Alcohol was my substance that really brought me to my knees. And I kind of look back and and I have learned to find out that it's all over my family. But I will say that I struggled for so many years, really saying I'm smarter than this, thinking I had a problem, but really kind of willing myself. I was functioning until I wasn't. And finally it was, about 10 years ago that, my children actually, who were in junior high, had, seen a friend of mine who was in recovery, who I happen to work with and also works at Commodore, doing really well in sobriety. Who, that was a crazy story in itself. There were sort of 3 of us that used to drink together and had just a lot of fun. And one by one, we each helped each other find the other side and are still just dear friends in recovery.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It's been really cool. So, so they went to their dad and they had said, Amanda's doing great. We talked to her, mom's got a problem. And, it was, that time, it was like, I was just ready. I was ready to surrender and fully gave myself, just up to, learning. And the science around it, the science around addiction was really sort of what allowed me to realize that it wasn't my fault, but that recovery was my responsibility. And, for many years, I had a successful career in the Boston area, in the construction industry. I don't look like sort of a construction executive. So, I have to tell you that for many years, sort of drinking was my equalizer. I could hang with the guys and drink just like them. And I could go to a boardroom and for the most part, put on a whole different face, and also carry around and, sign deals in martini bars and it's a big part of the whole thing. So when I decided to finally, get help with the urging of my children, I put myself all in, and I went to treatment, and it was then down at the Cape that I had really kind of, I had exposure to the whole opioid, the beginning of the
Right.
opioid epidemic. And I was, in a program where there were just, a few women that were my age, but I was just blown away that there were these, young people, just a few years older than my children. So I wanted to learn everything about it, and threw myself into sort of recovery, not really realizing if I was going to be able to safely go back into the construction industry. So when I got out of treatment and, and had a little bit of sobriety, I'd done all sorts of intervention training, executive coaching, and really actually thought that that's where I was going to land in that area, until an opportunity had presented itself to work in academia, in design and construction. So I actually became sort of the client to the company that that I work for now, and that I had worked for previously. At the end of my drinking, it was the big elephant in the room. Like, my
Right.
numbers were still high. I was still doing really well, but performing, and but you just didn't know. I mean, my off switch was broken, so you didn't know which side of me you were going to end up with at the end of the night. And finally, when we reconnected after I was in recovery, I remember talking to our COO and just having a very honest conversation around what this looked like, and that there's really a problem that's out there, that it's just not, I kind of said it's my responsibility to pull this out from underneath the rock. There's no shame in it. But, and so we had a really nice open conversation around it. So fast forward, we've enjoyed sort of, I guess, a nice relationship on the other side of things. And I also learned that I was really wired for the fast pace. I kind of do everything at 2 speeds, like many people. And it's either 0 or 10, off the charts. And academia and decision making and their pace is very much of a 5. So
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to probably end up on the other, back in the construction industry, in a provider sense. It's what I'm good at. It's what I love. And I love the fast pace of it. So when I made the decision that I was going to move back to the other side, it was sort of like a comfortable glove. Like, I already knew that the core values existed. There was something special. I had already experienced from being a client all the different other construction managers in the Boston area. And I knew that there really was something special. And, from a person in long-term recovery, I got the opportunity, that so many people don't get that opportunity of full-blown, like, redemption. Like, they saw me really at my worst. And I remember having this conversation and saying, I'm not back. I'm back as a completely changed individual, professionally and personally. And what recovery's taught me is that, like, I'm a better version of myself. And for that reason, I'm a better parent. I'm a better friend. I'm a better boss. I have way more compassion. I keep my ego in check, and and it seemed it was the right fit. So here I come back, and I came back at actually a higher level than when I had left. And we're set to do 500 million in this next upcoming year. So we're a pretty good size company in the Boston area. And it was it kind of going along the way, I guess, of the opioid epidemic just has been such an issue, and particularly in the construction industry.
Yeah.
So there was a time, I guess, that you've seen different articles talking about it. There's several of us that are open about in long-term recovery. And our CEO had said, can we do something different? Like, what can we do? We need to make a difference. And just about that same time frame, also, our COO had a very dear friend lose a child to to an overdose. So it really was like it was just kind of all the stars aligning. It was what happened. It was what was happening in everyday life. And I said, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. We have an overdose happen on one of our job sites. The numbers just are stating that this is how it's going to be.
Right.
So we talked about what that looked like from I did a bunch of different research. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity to have sort of my two worlds collide. It's like my trained professional, being in the construction industry. I mean, I graduated with a degree in construction engineering, it's like 30 years ago. And then here I am 30 years later in long-term recovery. I got a master's degree along the way in recovery in innovation, and to come up with an opportunity to say, if you really want to do something big, I have an idea. So that was kind of how it, we started talking, I guess, and putting together, like you say, the inaugural program. And really, there were things that were, that were important to us. That was one, we wanted to make as much difference as we could to the industry, to lead by example in the construction industry, and to help set up a program that was meant to be replicated. And also, you just see the impact that and the chaos that addiction has on families, and the lost time and everything else. So we really kind of wanted to wrap our arms around addiction and anybody who was either impacted or had a family member, and just really provide the care and services, just as you would with somebody who had another illness.
Right.
And had a full following. So, and then on top of that, we have also a lot of young professionals and families that have small children.
Right.
And, and are saying, well, I know it's a big problem out there, but, it's not really us. And we wanted to have the services to say, let's concentrate on wellness for you and your family. And let's also concentrate on prevention and give you some, opportunity and some links to some professionals that can help you with the conversations.
Right. And that's the time, one thing first off that I want to, commend your employer on first and foremost. And I think a lot of people that have been affected, by addiction, one of their biggest fears is their job security and whatnot. And I think it's pretty incredible. And it's a testament, to, your employer, that I think you show that, you can come out on the other side. You can be in recovery. And still, there are people, no, there's no judgment, and give you the chance to shine in this new life of recovery. So first and foremost, that's, I think, a really important message that I hope people are hearing right now. But, we're talking about, this opportunity, and that's when I know you come to Herren Project. And I know that we were talking about our corporate partner program, and that's what we want to talk about, corporate recovery and wellness program. And I know you were a very big part of us launching that here at Herren Project. And I always remember the key word, and you said it, innovative. I mean, when I think of the word innovative, I think of Lisa. And you came to us and said, hey, I want to start this innovative program, and I want to help people that have been struggling with addiction. And we're grateful that you came to us, and we created the corporate partner program. And I know that Commodore Builders was the first corporate partner that got behind that. So can you tell us, just tell a little bit about, that program and how it's impacted Commodore Builders?
Absolutely. I mean, so here is something that what I also think is very special about the program. It being in the construction industry and with some different unions, there are great programs that the unions have implemented to assist their workers and help them get the help that they need, and to get them and fixed and return to work, and and they kind of point them in one direction. One of the reasons I drew from personal experience that that I thought was important is one size doesn't fit all for recovery. So to say, like, here's this one spot that we work with that that this is where we're going to send you, and this is where you're going to get help, and then you come back. It doesn't always work that way. The demographics, the census, it wouldn't be appropriate to put a 22-year-old female, I guess, in a program that currently has 27 young men that are in between the ages of 28 and 35. Herren offered that opportunity to say, we listen to what the issue is, and then we dig in a little bit deeper, and we'll make the right match. That we're looking to be we're looking to get people well, and not just get them returned to work as soon as possible.
Right.
So that was something that was very special. And like I had said to you, I mean, treatment has changed over the past 10, 12 years. So when I was getting help, I struggled with insurance and fought for my ability to get placed somewhere. And then found myself, like, I knew it was like the same thinking disease, but I wasn't necessarily, I kind of had to find my way a little bit. So so that was what was attractive about Herren, is it was like this, it was like it was also a confidential, independent third party, so that people, although we say that they're safe, they feel like that their privacy is protected. And I can tell you, like, how it's working. I mean, because I've also taken this opportunity, I've never hid that I'm in long-term recovery, but it was also something that just didn't come up all that often. And when people would hear about my passion around it, they usually thought I was a family member of somebody that had struggled, until I would say, no, it's me. So I've also had sort of an open revolving door of where people have come to me and said, thank you. And in one in particular instance, there was an employee that came up that had said, you allowed the partnership with Herren allowed my family last year to have a peaceful Christmas, because we were able to put their family member and find a proper place for them. And for many years, holidays were just associated with chaos. And so that to me was like, there it is right there, right? It's all about, that was the success. So it's been great. Now we want to kind of, the pandemic kind of, that was kind of, it's been a terrible thing. I mean, because just, I think that there's been a lot of people that have been allowed to isolate because that's just the way of the world. And I'm thrilled that we have this in place to provide the help that we have to.
I am too. And I know that, we're all grateful for our partnership with Commodore Builders. And we hope that this is, we've created a program, I think, for other corporations to be able to offer a very dedicated service to their employees and their families, because there are so many people that are struggling. And it also allows, I think, corporations to, get behind the cause of addiction and that philanthropic piece, to really come together and make a difference. Because, it's not just, it's wonderful to have this program to give to your employees. There's no doubt about that. But I think that we are stronger together in the fight against addiction. And we know that with the pandemic, we're seeing record numbers of people that, we're losing more and more people. We have more people that have relapsed. So I think programs like this are they're needed. And Commodore is a very special place to allow and give this, I think, type of program to the employees, to know that there is somebody there to help walk them through that process. And Herren Project takes that, very seriously. So I know that we are grateful for you and your innovative ideas and helping us to launch this program. And hopefully this is just the beginning for us to continue to grow this partnership, and also to provide this program to many more corporations and other entities across the country. So thank you, for that, and for being a leader, and for sharing your story. Because I think the more that we can all share our story openly and honestly, the more people that will feel comfortable to reach out for help. So we are so grateful, Lisa, to have you on here tonight. And we thank you and look forward to more years of partnership with Commodore.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Now we are going to bring on Michael Fratus, another inspirational person who is doing incredible work in his community in Warwick, Rhode Island. So, Michael, thank you for joining us. He is, I guess, he's got a lot of titles. I know this. I know Michael is full of energy and really making a difference in Rhode Island. So you are the director of the Warwick Substance Abuse Task Force. You are the director of the Health Equity Zone. Both of these entities are under the Comprehensive Community Action Program, which we'll get to. But before we do, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and just share a little bit about your inspirational story?
So first off, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here, and I tell people all the time, I'm grateful to be here, the best day of my life. I'm on the right side of the ground, which is a plus, and not everybody gets that luxury. And there was a point in time, where 6 feet under looked like an upgrade, so I'm grateful to be here. Second, Lisa, congratulations on 10 years. I think she can hear me in the back over there, but that is so big. I am so happy, proud. And that little story, man, it hit me right in the feels of that person you helped around Christmas time. Oh man, because Christmas was chaos at my house. So I get it. I've been there. And, because it's not easy. I'm a person in long-term recovery as well. And, I'm January 6th will be 13 years for me. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And there's been easy times and there's been difficult times, listen, I started using at a young age, and I can't sit here and tell you, was it a phase? Was it not? What I know for me is that I can't do anything in moderation, period. And what happened was I was a garbage disposal. I used everything that I could possibly get my hands on. I was like a guinea pig for my friends group. I would try the drugs and then report back to the group, and to think about that now and to actually say that's psychotic. That's crazy too, of like, I had no idea what things were going to do. And I would just come back to my people and say, you know, all right, this was cool. No, man, stay away from this. And I did that for a long time. You know, I started drinking and using drugs at 11, sneaking things out of the liquor cabinet. And, you know, I like to think I was functioning for a while, but I was really on a dangerous slope. I was going to high school. I can remember going to high school. I was decent at some sports, and I played some, you know, baseball, and I desperately wanted to fit in. And I was looking for that group to just fit into. And I had my friends that I grew up with and that I'm always going to be friends with, but I always wanted to fit in like a chameleon in different crowds and different things. And I did that well for a while. And, you know, the whole time my attitudes and behaviors and things started to change over time. I went from being this nice young boy, this young man, to being this arrogant, egotistical monster of a human. And, you know, what happened for me was the unacceptable became acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would do things that I thought I would never do. I would always draw those lines in the sand. I would do this drug, but I won't do that drug. I'll do that drug, but I won't do this drug. I always drew those lines. And listen, I am a habitual line crosser. I cross those lines every single time. All right. So I do. And, you know, I was getting high right around the time of when the opiate epidemic was starting. And I did a lot of different things to, you know, just to get right during the day, you know. And my summer going into senior year, I got in a bad car accident. I was drinking and driving, not because that's my MO. I put my life and everybody else's life in danger. And I get behind the wheel. And I got behind the wheel and I hit a tree in Western Cranston going 60 miles an hour. Average speed of death in a drunk driving accident is 40. I broke my kneecap in 13 pieces, my femur in half, and my hip in 3 places. The world changed for me on the drop of a dime. You know, a lot of things stopped, but a lot of things were taken over to a new level, especially with opiates. You know, I was a 17-year-old kid given all these types of medications, all these powerful drugs, and then you snatched them away from me when I had an addictive personality to begin with, and I just found myself wanting more and more and more, you know. And I don't, you know, I'm not angry at anybody for any of that stuff. The doctors did everything right. They progressed me down from a high dose milligram down to a low dose milligram. They tampered me off. They did everything right. I just didn't care, you know, and that was my mentality for a long time. And it slowly got worse to a point where I had burned all relationships in my life. I was failing out of college. I was in debt over my head. I owed rent, like 4 or 5 months rent. I was out in back alleys taking things that weren't mine. And I was just doing some real bad behaviors. And at the end of the day, I was going home and I can distinctly remember I was praying to a God that I didn't know if I even believed in anymore, that I just wanted to die. Mm. And I said to myself, what am I doing? I'm 20. I'm 20 years old. What am I doing? And I went to rehab. And it was back in Rhode Island when Rhode Island had some rehabs back then. They had some decent programming. Right now we're fighting for a lot of that programming, you know. Right. And they had some decent programs. And I went away. I went away for like 20 days. And insurance dictated that stay. You know, they said, oh, you've been there for 20 days. We're not going to pay anymore. You should try outpatient counseling. I am grateful that worked for me. I've seen it not work for others, and I know that longer term stays are more beneficial to a lot of people, but that worked for me. And I haven't used since, you know, and I slowly started to change who I was, my behaviors, my actions, and becoming that nice young man that I used to be, you know. And I I started to put my life back together. I was working for a place called Workout World, and they had me all over the country. And I was about 2 years sober and clean, and that job and that atmosphere and people at it just started to jeopardize my recovery. And some things had happened and some things were said, and I stepped away. And I came back. I was living in Chicago and Minnesota. I was moving back and forth, and I packed my truck, my car back up, and I put my tail between my legs, and I went back home. And I started waiting tables, and coaching high school baseball. And it was through the kids at that high school, those kids from the high school baseball, that convinced me to go back to school. Because they were like, you're always encouraging us to be in school. You're always doing study halls with us. You're always helping us trying to apply for colleges. What are you doing? What are you doing working at the Greenwood Inn waiting tables? No offense to the Greenwood Inn. They were great to me. Okay. But they're like, what are you doing? And, through them and the encouragement of, my ex-wife, I went back to school. And I went to school and I got my degree in 3 years, about 2.5. And the whole time I've stayed, clean and sober. And my first job out of college, out of that college experience, was at CCAP, which is a Comprehensive Community Action Program, right?
And well, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, I think it's an incredible story. And, I applaud those young people that spoke into your life. I think we all need people. It doesn't matter what age they are, right? I mean, we all can really make an impact no matter our age in other people's life and speak into their life and maybe change the trajectory of their life. So, here you are, you got your degree, you're still sober. I know you work for the community comprehensive community action plan. Tell us a little bit about that program and, what the different, I know there's a number of different entities that make them up. Who's involved in that program?
So Comprehensive Community Action Program is a CAP agency. CAP agencies were created in the 50s, under, President Kennedy and then President Johnson and the war on poverty. Okay. Those CAP agencies were created for that purpose. And what we do is there's a number of us in the communities. Warwick has their own, we have, one. So we have different catchment areas in the community. So my company is the catchment areas are Cranston, Coventry, Scituate, and Foster in Rhode Island. And we're very, very big in Cranston, but we have health centers and dental centers in Warwick. And we wanted to be partnership with West Bay Community Action, who is the catchment area for Warwick, to work on different projects together. So we started doing different things. So what we do at CCAP, there's a number of different things. We offer folks to help get health care, help, see a primary care doctor, dental, behavioral health, MAT programs, one-on-one counseling. We do peer-to-peer recovery coaching. We have Head Start programs, Healthy Families of America, Parents as Teachers. I could go on. There's over 55 programs. We have over, I think now we're up above 380 employees now. And wow. We're all in it together. You know what I'm saying? We're a group of people that we're passionate about helping people. We want to see communities succeed. We want to see people succeed. For myself, on a personal level, I love seeing growth. Growth is an excitement for me. I love seeing come-ups. I want to see people do well. And I want to.
Oh, you can keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that though a program like this, though, shows the power of a community. And
Correct.
I think that as it relates to, addiction, we often talk about how, connection, community are so key, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a program like this just shows the impact that
Mm-hmm.
a group of people can have on a community, on a cause. And I think it's pretty incredible. And I know that as part of this, which we were talking about, you're the director of two different programs, the Health Equity Zone and the Substance Abuse Task Force. Can you tell us a little bit about the Warwick Substance Abuse Task Force and the work that they're doing in the community?
So we're part of the Kent County in Rhode Island Prevention Coalition. And what happens is we have different directors in different communities doing work with all sorts of folks in the community around substance abuse, mental health, vaping, tobacco, underage drink. Like, we go out in the communities, we do sticker shocks. I'm in the high schools on a quarterly basis. I'm part of their curriculum now, where the health teachers have me come in and we talk about different, different prevention plans, different educational projects we do with the kids to help educate the kids. Because listen, I can sit here all day. I said it today to the kids in the school I was at today. I can sit here and tell you all day, I don't want you to use, but I am not a mind reader. You're going to be put in situations, right? My job is, how can I educate you to make the healthiest decision possible? And that's what we try to do, And then, Warwick has a big problem with mental health right now. Not only the substance abuse, and we all know, working in this field, mental health and substance abuse kind of go hand in hand. Right. You know what I'm saying? When I got clean and got sober, I put the drugs and alcohol down. That was the easy part. It was fixing what was between the ears. Right. That was the hard part, Yeah. And so we Charahoe, a local town in our state, designed these "You're Not Alone" signs. And the entire Prevention Coalition has adopted these signs, and we've put them out in the communities. We've got them out in parks, city buildings, municipal buildings, different agencies. I made laminate signs that are on the backs of every bathroom stall in every middle school and high school in the city. And then we go out and we put them up. I have it right here. It's a QR code, right?
Yeah. I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
I am from Rhode Island, and I saw them on the back of a bathroom stall. So,
right.
So it's working.
Those things are great. But what the alarming thing is, we did a test run of it in the schools, tested out Pilgrim High School. And we wanted to see how many clicks we got, how many things, and we could track this stuff. And I needed to get some data. And we put them in different schools in different communities, and we wanted to weigh the data. Warwick had over 1,700 scans in a month. We doubled every other community in the area.
Wow.
So to me, that showed that either kids are really struggling or they might know somebody who's struggling. So we try to go in and educate the youth on what we're doing. And then we do a lot of other things. We try to go out and we do alternative, pain management. We're out in the library and the older folks community. We're handing out ice packs and heating pads and little dissolvents where you can put them in your pills and dissolve your medication and discard them. We have a big initiative right now on lock bags because there's a high overdose rate in the city of kids just taking over-the-counter medications and just jumping them down their throats. So we did a big initiative on lock bags, and we started handing out lock bags to the community. So with that happening, I can kind of shift into that other aspect of what we talked about, which is the Health Equity Zone, which is brand new. And I've been doing the substance abuse. I've been with CCAP for now. I'm on my 5th year, and with the substance abuse stuff, I've been doing that for 2 years now. And the HES program had come about, and I'm a Warwick guy. I live in Warwick. And as I got clean, I slowly watched my city get sucked into the abyss of the opioid pandemic. And I was talking about it today to someone of I've buried a dozen friends,
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
more in the
Right.
last. That's close friends. That's not just even saying acquaintances that I know. I'm talking about near and dear friends to my heart that we buried, and you know, in a short amount of time, and so I saw these things happening, and I saw some things in the elderly community. I'm involved in some other things. I saw some youth things and a lot of different things and food problems and stuff like that. So when the HES program, Health Equity Zone, is a statewide initiative, but it's also a federally funded program. It's a nationwide program that really dives into grassroots stuff in the community. And the community is where it's, makes the decisions on health disparities, on, social injustice, substance abuse, housing situations, food, people who can't afford, who aren't getting food. If there's a high diabetes cluster in the city, we try to help with that. So what happens is you take this program and you create this leadership team of my leadership team has a 60% resident based. So it's 60% residents in the community and 40% agencies. Now the residents outweigh the agencies because it's a resident run program. So what the residents say go, okay, what they say we should go get the money for to implement programs, they come up with that stuff. The data that we are starting to gather will make those decisions for our board of what we're going to go and do. So we're going to do like community outreaching, surveys in the schools, parent surveys, youth surveys. We're going to do speak outs. So I have this fun little thing that I want to do. My boss and I had talked a lot about it. It's really, really fun. So what we're going to do is Warwick has 9 wards. So it's divided into different parts of the city, and we're going to tackle 3 wards at a time and have these speak outs. And we're going to have like poster boards and different things of different problems in the community. Cancer rate is a big one in Warwick, substance abuse, housing, you name it. We'll have boards, and everybody who walks in the building is going to get $150 in Monopoly money. And the community gets to spend the money on what they think is most important. And then when we bring that data back to the group, to the leadership team, we can say, okay, this is what this community says that we should be spending our money on. How are we going to get these grants to come and get these programs? And we go to the Department of Health and say, hey, what grants can we get to get this stuff to implement programs? And then we hand it out as a board. We hand it out to the local agencies to implement programs for our community members.
It sounds like a pretty incredible, program and initiative that's going on in Warwick. And I look forward to watching. I know you said it was new, and look forward to just watching what it turns into over the next year and beyond, because it sounds like a pretty impactful initiative that's going to really make a difference in the city of Warwick and hopefully in other parts of Rhode Island. So, I mean, great job, and continue to do the incredible work that you are. I mean, I think it exemplifies, I think, the power that, communities can have in the fight against many different health initiatives that we're dealing with. And I think especially after the pandemic, there are just so mmany issues that are on the rise. So we can't have,
they really are,
enough programs. So,
and then, not to mention some of the things, the inflation is going up, and people are having more and more trouble trying to afford things to live on a regular basis, and I always like to do a, shout out to some of the other programs. So HES has been around in Rhode Island, I think now, I think it's been about 6 to 8 years. Go on the Department of Health website. They have a whole thing on it. Newport, Bristol, Cranston does a great one. So they have all different ones, and they're all different. It's all catered to their communities. And it's really cool to see like Pawtucket's mission and vision is completely different to what Cranston might be, and what Warwick's gonna be, and what Warwick is. And it's nice, and we get to cut together as a group. We do it as a team. Each cohort meets with each other, and we try to help each other grow as programs. So it's not, we're really trying to make this initiative, bigger and stronger as we grow.
Well, it's great. Well, it's going to be a privilege to watch, as I am a resident of Rhode Island. So thank you, Michael, for your passion and dedication to the work that you're doing. We need more of you around. So really appreciate you coming on Herren Project Live tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and keep doing all the work that you guys are doing up there. It's great to see what you guys are doing.
Together we are stronger, right? I mean, we're all in this together. No
Absolutely.
doubt about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Lisa and Michael, for sharing your inspiration and just to see how I think as corporations, as communities, when we come together, the impact that we can make. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to mental health and substance use disorder. So to have more communities and companies, I think, come together, we definitely can make a difference. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Thank you.